Welcome to A Mason's Work, the podcast where we review Masonic symbols and illustrate how they can be used to solve problems in everyday life. With your host, Brian Mattox, a proud member of the Craftsman Online Media Network.
If you're like me, and I imagine that some of you are, you've grown up in a society that teaches you in many ways that giving up is bad, that giving up is not desirable. It's the mark of somebody who doesn't know that their next great amazing thing is right around the corner. And I bring that up now in the context of these conversations because what happens with these MacGuffins that we create for ourselves, the weight loss goals, the financial goals, the things like that, is you quite literally are chasing a goal that is a fiction. Because you're chasing the wrong thing, you have created something that's literally impossible. It cannot close the gap. The number in your bank account cannot make you feel a certain way. You make you feel that way. You do this. Your weight goals cannot make you feel, achieving those goals cannot make you feel a certain way. You have to, upon achieving those goals, make yourself feel that way. So when you're doing this stuff to yourself, when you're having these experiences, both of the gap you're trying to create or close, and the gap that you've given a name to, when you are experiencing these things, you're doing all of that. You're doing both sides of the game. It's kind of like a trick. You're playing a game on yourself and with yourself. And the problem again is if you take that game and you say, okay, well, I'm doing this, I'm pursuing this goal to try and create this experience. And so I'm not allowed to have this experience until I get to this goal. And then when you get there, you don't have the experience. You can see kind of what a fiction the game is. And how do you get through it? How do you deprogram this in yourself so you can start to meaningfully change stuff? And that's part of the conversation here is you can undergo meaningful change. You can undergo goals and objectives and pursue these things with value. But what you can't do is create these situations that are not designed to solve the problem. And if you don't know what the problem is, you certainly can't build a solution to it. So this is where the sort of other lodge officers conceptually kick in. In the lodge, the Junior Warden sits in the south, and he observes the sun at high meridian and calls the craft off from labor to refreshment. What the Junior Warden represents is this capacity internally to know what's going on with the body, with the corpus of the lodge, with the workmen. If the workmen are overtaxed or we're not getting proper signals from the workmen about the job, we stop. Stopping isn't quitting. Stopping isn't running away. Stopping is, I don't have enough data to continue. In programmatic language, for folks that are of an IT bent, you'll see things where you don't have enough data. And the best thing you can do when you don't have enough data is not just keep on going. You have to stop, collect more information, and then proceed. If you let the program keep going, there's a good chance it's going to have a negative outcome. It's going to delete all your files. It's going to be a crazy nightmare. With the Junior Warden as a function and the way we pursue goal achievement as a people, it's the same problem. If you don't have a dashboard to see where you're going, you're not going to get there. We oftentimes do this process where we try and close this gap from where we think we are to where we want to go. We draw a map. And the problem with using a map to navigate is the map is not the territory. You don't have a territory map, a map of the feelings you're going to have along the way. And more importantly, a triage plan for those feelings as they arise. Most men are taught to ignore all that stuff, but feeling stuff is for somebody else. But for us as Masons and as people who are trying to cultivate a better version of ourselves, you have to stop and get in touch with what it is your body is telling you, what it is your emotions are telling you. That knock at the door, those sensations, the tension, the feelings, all should inform the sense of progress more so than the numbers. And I recognize that that's counterintuitive because we're taught in a lot of ways that you have to, see it in the bank account. It doesn't count if it's not in the outcome. But we've talked about this in other episodes. When we attach to process and the understanding what we're going through and the experiences we're creating along the way, the outcomes typically will take care of themselves. So sitting in that Junior Warden space and looking at the place you want to go, the Worshipful Master's kind of direction set, and trying to do that translation with the data you're getting from your body, from the systems you have access to, begins the process of deprogramming the poor translation of kind of vibes and emotional content to outcomes and objectives, and lets you begin to deconstruct that stuff. For the next couple of days, we're going to talk just a little bit more about this and dig in just a touch more on how to make this make more sense. Bear with me. This isn't something you're going to be used to doing. This drive-by-wire kind of drive-by-gut feeling is something that we often discourage. But as you'll soon find out when we go through this, it's actually the best barometer and the best way, the best indicator that you're going to have that you're doing the right thing. We'll talk more tomorrow.
The views represented in this podcast are those of the speaker alone and are not representative of any Grand or subordinate lodge.
Hi, Brian here. I wanted to thank you so much for listening to this episode. If you have any suggestions or guidance for further episodes you'd like to see or hear, whatever the case may be, please don't hesitate to reach out to me at amasonswork.com, and we will try and incorporate your suggestions into a future recording. Thanks.
Freemasonry teaches us that the true work is within, a lifelong journey of reflection, discipline, and discovery. At A Mason's Work, we help Masons bring out their best selves through meaningful self-inquiry and symbolic practice. From personal reflection to lodge engagement, we offer tools that turn symbols into action. Visit us at amasonswork.com. The work is within. The time is now.